y'all, and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to show you the last of the 2025 releases that I am most looking forward to. The months covered will be September, October, November, and December. Let's jump into it. First up in September, I am looking forward to A Storm in Every Heart. This is technically an interconnected standalone, but it does follow the events of A Thorn in Every Heart. This will be book 2 in the Enchanted Legacy series by Kate King. I did really enjoy the first book. It was kind of like a random library find for me, and like I said, I did enjoy it. This second book, we're following the character Odessa. She is a siren, so I like the mermaid aspect, and she is pretty convinced that like love is not really on the cards for her, but 100 years ago she saved Crown Prince Castian. Now she kind of thought, okay, maybe this is my chance. It was not so. On that night, Castian lost everything, his family, his kingdom, everything, and his chance, he thought, at true love. So he has really shut himself off from the world. He's very cold. He is very, just like presents a calm, cool facade, never lets anything ruffle his feathers until he and Odessa, or Dessa, are back in the same place. I think it's going to be really good. It's been described as The Little Mermaid meets The Princess Bride, so I think that sounds incredible. And like I said, I did thoroughly enjoy book 1. This is fantasy, but it's more like magical realism sort of fantasy set in our modern day. What do they call that? Do they call that sort of urban fantasy when it's set in our modern times? I'm not sure, but I'm really looking forward to that one. And the cover and the sprayed edges, ooh, it looks very nice. Next are a couple of nonfiction. First up is Sister Wife. That's going to be by Christine Brown Woolley. She is very famously one of Cody Brown's several wives, now an ex-wife. She was married to him for over 20 years in a plural marriage as part of a fundamentalist sect. And she's famous because of the show Sister Wives. Like, that's why I know her. And that has been a guilty pleasure of mine for many, many years. I will say I've not watched any of the newer stuff. I think since one of the sons passed, I really haven't watched the show. It's felt a little morbid and grim for me, and so I just haven't really gotten back into it. But I am curious about all the tea she has, because I think she is far enough away from the anger to not be nasty, but to like spill it all, if you know what I mean. Like, I think she's going to give us everything in a calm and measured way, but we're going to get it. We're going to get the tea. So I'm looking forward to that one. Also in the nonfiction vein, it's actually a cookbook. It's Sally's Baking 101. This is Sally from the Sally's Baking Addiction blog, and I love a good cookbook. I will try to get this from the library. I've been big on getting library cookbooks lately because I find that I don't often vibe with all of the recipes. Even in baking cookbooks, there's going to be stuff in there I don't want, and the library is a great resource to get these books. Next, I have A Fellowship of Games and Fables. This is book 3 in the Adenishire series. I have not read book 2 yet. It is Dolly's story. I'm very much looking forward to it, and it is on the list. However, book 3 is coming in September, and it features the grumpy Fennec Jez that we met in the first book. And there's fake dating, which is one of my favorite tropes, so I am looking forward to continuing on in that series. Another series I am very much looking forward to going back into is Ghost Business by Jenn Deluca. This is Boneyard Key book 2. So we are back in Boneyard Key, this time with the ghost tour guide, Sophie. And she has a rival, a newcomer that has arrived in town called Tristan. He is, in my opinion, from what I can tell from the description, seems kind of like an F-boy, if you know what I mean. And he is trying to start his own little ghost tour business. He is all the way on her turf, but he does kind of have something to lose. If he can't make his business profitable, his daddy is gonna yank everything from him. So I think Sophie has kind of a viral rant about this situation, and they become full-on rivals. I really enjoyed the first book, Haunted Ever After, in this series. I really like the community of Boneyard Key. I like the setting, and I like this author's writing. I like the paranormal in the romance, not like a paranormal romance, but romance with paranormal elements to them. And I am just looking forward to more of that. I did think the mailman character in this book was going to be somebody we had already met, So that was a little surprising to me, but I'm sure it's going to work out great. I'm sure I'm going to love it. Another September release that I'm really looking forward to is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. I have read other books by her, some hits, some misses, but this one sounds really great. This book features Cleo, who is a polished stylist and influencer. She seems like she has everything together, but she is harboring kind of a secret. She grew up in a haunted house, but maybe not haunted, more like possessed by a demon. And well, that's what her mother said. And her mother was so insistent on it, no one else believed her, that she actually had her children removed from her custody. That's how insistent she was on this, and no one else really took her seriously. After her mother dies, having written a book about this whole experience as well, Cleo is left the home. She sees this as an opportunity to work through her childhood trauma and make some content out of it, maybe like flipping this house. And I don't know, it just sounds really good. It sounds like there's a lot of potential for mayhem and tomfoolery, which I'm super into, and maybe a little more substance, working through her childhood trauma. And I love a ghost, I love a demon, I love a haunting. Another sequel I'm looking forward to in September is Uncharmed. This follows Rewitched. I do think they are also sort of interconnected standalones. You don't necessarily have to read Rewitched before you read Uncharmed, but this follows the witch Annie. She is a perfectionist. She feels like she's like quite uptight and likes everything just so. But when she starts mentoring a troubled teenager who is very powerful, everything sort of hits the fan. Her world is thrown into utter chaos. She has to overcome that perfectionist tendency, that people pleaser nature, and embrace her true self and what life means when you let go of those things. My first spooky season book and debut on the list is No Rest for the Wicked by Rachel Louise Adams. In the town of Little Horton, Wisconsin, everyone is sort of Halloween obsessed. Forensic pathologist Dolores left that town 20 years ago and never looked back until the FBI calls and lets her know that her father, a U.S. senator, has gone missing under very suspicious circumstances. Dolores is forced to go back to her hometown, face her past, and try to find her father. Like I said, this is a debut. It sounds great. The cover looks really awesome and pulled me right in. I think this is going to be great for spooky season, great for a Halloween read. Switching directions is a kind of historical fiction fantasy called The White Octopus Hotel by Alexandra Bell. This is about an art valuer who is asked by an old man on his deathbed to value a white octopus. She arrives at this crumbling hotel and she is left a key, but when she opens the door, she's transported back to the 1930s when the White Octopus Hotel was in its heyday. She gets caught up in this magical sort of scavenger hunt, unlocking her own family's mysterious past and maybe getting caught up in a little bit of a love story of her own with an artist. Mary Roach is back, ladies and gentlemen, and in this volume called Replaceable You, she explores the intricacies and failings of the human body. She talks about prosthetics, donated organs, reusing organs for different purposes. It sounds like it might be a little gross and just totally amazing. I love her humorous take on science nonfiction, and I cannot wait for this book to be out. Kind of a silly one is Pickles Illustrated. I mean, just like look at the cover, it's so cute. But this is a book that's kind of a cookbook, kind of a fact book. It has a lot of interesting facts and knowledge about pickling and the science behind it. I don't know, the history of it. And also I think there's like 36 recipes for making your own pickled vegetables or pickled stuff. I guess people pickle eggs. I wouldn't. But I'm super interested in traditional pickles, pickled cucumbers, spears, chips, all of it. I love pickled carrots and daikon, and I am so into this book. I might actually buy this cookbook, especially since it has fun facts with it too. It's not just a cookbook, but it looks so cute and I could not leave it off of this list. The Inevitable Ruin by Matt Dinneman is coming out this September as well. I do have an arc for it. I am still reading book 1, so I'm not going to tell you too much about it. The cover looks great. I am so excited. Matt Dinneman is going to be here in August, and I'm trying to decide if I should go see him or not. His Q&A is already sold out, but there are tickets for a signing line, and I just don't know if I have it in me to be part of the craze that he has created. Maybe once I finish Dungeon Crawler Carl, we'll see if it'll be worth the hours and hours of waiting to meet him. It very well might be. Jenny Bayliss is one of my favorite holiday romance authors, and she has a new book coming out called I'll Be Home for Christmas. It's set in Britain, as usual, and we follow Fred, who is our female main character, as she goes back home for the holidays. A little maybe begrudgingly, a little maybe dejectedly goes back home for the holidays. She loves her mom. She loves her crazy aunties who are around, which that is a selling point to me. I love a little bit of a crazy auntie situation. Their family has a Christmas cracker business, which she quickly gets roped into helping out with when she's back home, and she runs into her old friend Ryan. They were friends, like I said, but now Ryan is making her heart flutter a little bit, so I think she's gonna have to confront her past. Jenny Bayliss does this so well, these family relationships and these, like, growing out of the childhood nonsense that maybe held you back before. I think she does these relationships really well, and I'm so looking forward to reading this for a little Christmas time fun with heart. The 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club series is coming out in September as well. It is called The Impossible Fortune. I still have not finished that series. I'm not caught up with it yet, but I think we see our 4 main characters back at it, solving another mystery. I'm sure it's going to be great. Not certain if this is going to be Richard Osman's final in the series, but it looks like it might just keep going. Last up for September is Truly by Lionel Ritchie. This is a memoir from the musical sensation Lionel Ritchie himself, member of the Commodores, a man who spent his childhood in Tuskegee, Alabama, moved to Harlem, and came of age during that 1960s Renaissance. His music career with the Commodores, perfection, probably like a lot of crazy stories there. And I'm just so looking forward to hearing more about his amazing life, his amazing rise to fame. He was apparently like a very shy, late bloomer kid, but I would never think of him that way. He is pure rock star to me, and I cannot wait to probably do the audio of this, especially if he reads it. I'm getting the audio. October seems to be a month of book 2 releases. So first up, I have The Witching Moon Manor by Stacy Sivinski. I enjoyed book 1 from this series. It was called The Crescent Moon Tea Room, and it's about 3 sisters who run this tea room. They can tell like small fortunes to people, a little bit of their future. And the business is done really well. They've expanded since the last book, and it seems like all 3 sisters are maybe back home together again. But everyone is struggling with their own little things, it seems. Everyone is having a little internal dilemma. So I'm sure we're going to have more of that sister dynamic, the problem solving, if they all just come together and let their problems be known, they could solve them together. I think we're going to have that similar dynamic from the first book. These books are really beautiful. I did enjoy, like I said, I enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the characters. I don't know that it's something I would buy and read again, but I do look forward to continuing the series because the characters were really fun. Queen Demon is book 2 in the Rising World series. This follows The Witch King, which I bought earlier this year and have not read yet, but I'm still looking forward to book 2, and that's totally allowed. Like I said, I haven't read book 1, so I can't give you a whole lot of information about what book 2 is about. I don't really want to read too much about what book 2 is about, but I know that it focuses on found family, friendship, power, betrayal, all the good stuff. Another book 2 is Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This follows Bride, which is a very like fantasy, is it Omegaverse? Is that what they call like the werewolf stuff? I don't know. There's werewolves, there's vampires, there's humans, and we follow a were-human hybrid. She's supposed to be like something that brings the communities together, but really she ends up just kind of being a pawn in the vampire, werewolf, human sphere. To protect herself, she feels forced to become the mate of a very powerful alpha if he'll have her. So I think there's going to be a little, maybe like some enemies to lovers again, kind of like in Bride. It was very stiff. It was very awkward relationships. But I did enjoy Bride. I think the world needed to be fleshed out a lot more. I wanted more of the world building personally, and I'm hoping to get more of that from book 2. I don't know that The Keeper of Magical Things is technically a book 2, but it does look like maybe it belongs in the same world as A Teller of Small Fortune. Here we have characters Certainty Bulrush, that's quite a name, who's kind of like an almost maid. Her magic is described as being very tepid and not a lot to write home about. When she has the opportunity to move into full like magedom, completing a really simple task, she jumps at the opportunity. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it seems like she's going to have to team up with Mage Aurelia, who is kind of an overachiever, and in being that has alienated herself from a lot of other people. So they have this task to transport a magical artifact, and it seems really simple and really straightforward. I think they fall in love, and probably low stakes, but some adventure, kind of like A Teller of Small Fortunes. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm looking for. I love the sort of let's go on an adventure style of cozy fantasy books. The cover was so cute. Oh, it's so cute. And I think this one's going to be great. I loved A Teller of Small Fortune. I love this author's writing, and I love the little world that she has brought us into. So I cannot wait for this one. The Ex-Boyfriend's Favorite Recipe Funeral Committee is quite the mouthful of a title, but this translation sounds like such a winner to me. Momoko gets very, very drunk after her boyfriend unceremoniously dumps her at a love hotel. She thinks he's going to propose. He's like, see you later. So she's very drunk in this cafe, so drunk that she falls asleep. And when she wakes up, she wants to pour her heart out and tell the story to anyone who will listen. The only people there are the strange manager and a monk. As she's telling the story, the manager decides to indulge her in this idea of making her ex-boyfriend's favorite food. She talks about how she doted on him and cooked for him and everything, and the manager says, fine, why don't you cook this dish for us if it's so special? Momoko realizes that the act of cooking this dish and telling her story has actually healed her more than anything else could. So the manager gets an idea of how to save this failing cafe. Momoko is going to come and have a course, and basically the monk will provide spiritual blessings. So they have this, it's almost like group therapy situation, and it's based on a real story. Something that actually happened. I think it was my ex-boyfriend's butter chicken, or my ex-boyfriend's favorite butter chicken, something like that. And I don't know, it just sounds really good to me. Another cookbook I'm really excited about, and I have actually pre-ordered because Barnes & Noble offered a signed pre-order, and that is Measure With Your Heart by Hannah Taylor. Do you guys know Lily Lute on TikTok and Instagram? I'm sure you do. It's her cookbook. I cannot wait. I've tried several of her recipes from Instagram. Her chocolate pie is a favorite in this house. I can't wait to have a full book of her recipes. Switching directions once again is Slayers of Old by Jim Hines. This is described as Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets the Golden Girls, and I think what we have here is a group of chosen ones who come out of retirement to maybe save the world. These 3 former chosen ones run a book and gift shop in Salem full of tourists, so they never have to worry about running out of business, and they never have to worry about saving the world until people start summoning like demons and stuff, and they have to leap back into action. I think this sounds so fun. Sounds great. It is a standalone fantasy, and I am so into that. Sawyer by Jessica Peterson is book 3 in the Lucky River Ranch series. This is a series of cowboy small town romances, and it follows 5 brothers. Sawyer is our 3rd brother in the series. He is a single dad, and imagine his surprise when he meets a single mom, and I'm sure sparks fly. I think this is going to be great. I loved Cash. I have not gotten to Wyatt yet. I know it's going to be great. I know I'm going to love it. And I just think this series has so much potential, and I look forward to every new release. Kandi Steiner's Kings of the Ice series is getting a book 5. There is no cover yet, but the title is Stand Your Ground. I'll put the little what's available here. Maybe there will be something new by the time I post this, fingers crossed. But this series is a set of interconnected standalones that follow the men on a professional hockey team. They don't have to be read in order, but I do think it's important. You see glimpses of future couples, previous couples. There is no blurb for this yet. There is no cover for this yet. It doesn't matter. It's gonna get pre-ordered. Another nonfiction is Animals Are A-Holes. I'm gonna be really honest. I don't love the cover here, but I do love a science nonfiction. This kind of reminds me of Fuzz by Mary Roach, except not animals breaking human laws, but animals just being like total jerks. I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious of a lot of animals, so I appreciate a book like this. People love to talk about how great dolphins are, and dolphins save people who are lost out to sea. That's only because you don't hear about the ones that don't get rescued. I'm convinced dolphins are creeps, and maybe this book will prove me right. Alex E. Harrow has a new historical fiction fantasy coming out. I have only read The Starling House by this author, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to reading The Everlasting when it comes out this fall. This book seems to combine fantasy, historical fiction, romance, maybe some sci-fi with a little bit of time travel. It sounds very intriguing. We follow a reluctant lady knight, a not-so-brave historian, and they travel through time and space to rewrite their tragic histories. there's not a lot more information than that. I don't know what's so tragic about their histories. I don't know what their situation is. It sounds great. The cover looks banging, and I hope I'm gonna like this the way I like Starling House. I have high hopes. The early reviews are exceptional. Coming in hot in November is another J. Penner Adenishire book. This is book number 4, and it's called A Fellowship of Curses and Cats. It looks freaking cute. We're back with Theo this time. After a spell goes wrong, he finds that cats are like mysteriously all attracted to him. They follow him around. And if you remember from book 1, if you've read book 1, Theo has like a forest lynx already, which is his house cat, but you know, giant. And the cat thinks it's quite funny that this is happening until he has an idea that he should open a cat cafe next to Arletta's bakery. Arletta is pregnant. I don't think that's a spoiler alert. It's in the blurb. And so they have a lot going on. I think Theo's father shows up out of nowhere. So there's a little bit of drama. Again, probably going to be very low stakes, very cozy, very sweet. And I really like this world. I enjoyed book 1, but Arletta annoyed me a little bit. I hope that now she and Theo are like solidly together, she will have chilled out a little bit. A retelling I'm always going to fall for is a Bluebeard retelling, and Marissa Meyer is coming this November with The House of Fear. This follows Mallory, who I guess considers herself to be a fraud. The only magic she has is seeing ghosts. This is not a super useful skill in being a witch, so she and her sister sustain their livelihoods by selling sort of like junk spells and gimmicks to gullible buyers. She meets handsome Armand, who seems to be the perfect mark for kind of a scam, honestly. And I think he is going to be our Bluebeard character. From there, there's like murder mystery and a lot happens. I hope it's going to stick pretty close to Bluebeard because that is the story I like, but with a new twist. I like that she's a witch. I like that she can see ghosts. That's very important in a Bluebeard retelling. So I'm really looking forward to this. I hope it doesn't disappoint. Book 3 in the Mountain Men Matchmaker series is also coming out this November, and it follows youngest brother Luke. He has always been like a more quiet, mild-mannered one, and his book is called Honeymoon Phase. It looks so cute. I think we have a friends to lovers and fake marriage situation here, which I am so into. Like, say less. I don't need to know anything more. I don't need to know more, but I'll tell you more. Addison, who goes by Ro, is Luke's best friend, and she kind of needs a husband for this lumberjack competition so she can inherit her father's lumberyard. I don't know. Enter lumberjack Luke, her best friend. They get fake married. I love that we're gonna have another girl on Fletcher Mountain. I love that there's a rooster on the cover because Amy famously hates birds, so I can't wait to see how she works this one in. And I know it's just gonna be a lot of fun. I'm also so thrilled to be meeting her in September, so I'm just buzzing in general about anything Amy does. Another gear shift is The Merge by Grace Walker. This sounds wild. This is an adult fiction sci-fi dystopia that follows 65-year-old Lori, who's living with Alzheimer's, and her daughter Amelia, who cannot stand to see her mother's mind fade. There's this groundbreaking new procedure that can put Amelia's mind into Lori's body, and their consciousness will be blended to one. It sounds like one of those books that's like really odd, will really make you uncomfortable, and it goes on to explain Amelia joining this like almost support group of other people planning to merge and who they're going to merge with. It sounds really wild. Don't get whiplash as we switch vibes yet again for Violet Thistlethwaite is Not a Villain Anymore by Emily Kremflotz. This is cozy fantasy where we follow Violet, who is the former right hand of a dark sorcerer. Her plan is to start over by opening a flower shop in her new town of Dragon's Rest. Unfortunately, a blight threatens all of the plants in Dragon's Rest, and she has to team up with her grumpy neighbor alchemist, Nathaniel, to save the town. I think the cover of this is absolutely beautiful. I think it sounds so fun, and if it's as cozy as it promises to be, I think this is going to be a standout for me. My final book for November is a bit of magical realism in the form of The Memory Gardener by Meg Donahue. It sounds a bit like one of my more favorite translations where we have a gardener who can pick out the perfect scent to bring back someone's memory. It's a long forgotten memory that has the potential to change their future, and it just sounds very much like a tale I've read before in a different package. She seems to thrive when she takes a new job at this sort of colorless, bland senior living facility, and she brightens the place up. By reawakening the Holmes Garden, she seems to reawaken the community as well. but this means that some memories come up that maybe shouldn't have, and new truths threaten her future. I don't have a whole lot for December, but starting off, I have The Mating Game by Lana Ferguson. I don't think this is a follow-up to The Fake Mate, but I do think it's probably set in the same world. We have contractor Tess, who has always just been a normal, non-shifting human, and then one day she goes to the hospital with flu-like symptoms, and it turns out she is like a late presenting shifter. She has a lot going on with her family and a competition coming up, a television competition coming up, wherein she is a contractor competing in a renovation. But with her newly discovered like wolf presenting, it could throw a huge spanner in the works and ruin her chances. We also then have Alpha Wolf Hunter, who avoids omegas, which is what Tess is, at all costs after his heart was broken by one. So when she shows up at his house smelling like an omega, he's like not interested. I think we'll have a little bit of an enemies to lovers. I think Lana Ferguson does that really well. She also does really well a fun romance and throwing in some real serious issues and giving substance to those romances. So I look forward to anything she puts out, honestly, and this one will be no exception. The last book I want to talk about is Platform Decay by Martha Wells. This will be book 8 in the Murderbot series. Some people have said that it's coming in December. The book is finished. It'll be published in December. Some people are saying it's not coming until May of 2026. I don't know. I'm not sure what to expect, but I just wanted to throw it in here as a little something to look forward to, because whether it comes out in December or it comes out next May, it is definitely something to look forward to. There's currently no blurb, but you can be sure that I'll be picking it up no matter what. All right, that's everything I have for you this time. Those are all of the books that I'm looking forward to for the rest of the year. If I missed any, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.